How do you stay focused at work? Welcome to another Vernaka video. In this video, we're going to talk about productivity. It's a business topic. We're talking about work and how we stay focused. Let's take a look at some different possible responses to this question together and improve our vocabulary and also speaking while doing so. At various points in this video, I'm going to instruct you to use the words that I'm teaching you to respond to this question. You might also want to give a preliminary response right now. You might want to pause the video, respond to this question for now with the vocabulary that you already know. The question is, how do you stay focused at work? And then after you give your response, we can learn some vocabulary and then try again and again and again. And we are going to improve our vocabulary by doing this. So let's take a look at some vocabulary here. One of the words that we can learn is distraction. It's a word that is connected to our question. The word distraction. Distraction is something that takes your attention away from what you are doing. So it's something that takes your attention away from what you're doing. That's a distraction. For example, a colleague comes to talk to you. You want to check your Instagram feed. Any of those things can be a distraction. Maybe you receive a phone call. So those things that take your attention away from what you're doing, they're called distractions. Remember that word? Another word is to stay on track. To stay on track is to continue to do what you are doing. It's the opposite for getting distracted. If you stay on track, you maintain focus. For example, I use a checklist to stay on track with my daily tasks. Yeah, you need to stay on track with your daily tasks. You need to maintain focus. You need to keep doing what you need to do rather than get distracted away. So let's use those two words and respond to this question. How do you stay focused at work? My response would be, in order to make sure that I stay on track with my daily to-do list, I always try to avoid distractions, interruptions, or anything that can take up more time than it should. So if a colleague wants to talk to me, I make sure that happens during specific times. I'm not open to discussions at all times, only specific times for colleagues to talk to me. So that's one of the ways that I maintain focus, and I make sure that I stay on track with what I need to do in my day. I have a to-do list, a prioritized to-do list, and I follow it. So that's my response, but let's read a response from here. The response is, to stay focused at work, I set clear goals for the day. I find that having a roadmap helps me stay on track and avoid distractions. For example, if I know I need to complete a report by noon, I'll prioritize that task and tune out everything else until it's done. So let's review this text part by part. To stay focused at work, I set clear goals for the day. So here we have an interesting vocabulary. It's set goals. Remember, for goals, we can use set. I set goals. To stay focused at work, I set clear goals for the day. I find that having a roadmap helps me stay on track. I find. So finding here is not like you're looking for something. Say, oh, there it is. That's not the find that we're talking about here. Here, the word find means I understand. I identify, I know, or I have discovered. The word find means to discover or identify something after searching or considering. So you consider things and you understand. So you say, I find. For example, I often find that writing things down helps me remember them. Yes, if you want to remember things, you can write them down. So I find that writing things down helps me remember them. I find that having a roadmap helps me stay on track and avoid distractions. So you need to have a roadmap. For example, if I need to complete a report by noon, I'll prioritize that task and tune out everything else. So what is tune out? Tune out is to stop listening or paying attention to something. It basically means to ignore. Like tune out any distractions, tune out anything that you shouldn't be listening to, anything that you shouldn't be paying attention to. So tune out is to stop listening or paying attention to something, or to ignore. For example, I put on noise cancelling headphones to tune out any background noise while working. So you can use noise cancelling headphones to tune out any distractions. We can also read an example for the word stay on track. I don't know if you did this. Stay on track means to maintain focus. So I use a checklist to stay on track with my daily tasks. You can use a checklist to stay on track with your daily tasks. So that's the first response that we had here. We learned the words distraction, stay on track, and tune out. We also use the word roadmap here in reading the text. Roadmap, that was interesting. And also prioritize. If you prioritize something, it means you put it at first priority. You want to do it firsthand. Okay, now I think we can proceed with our second response. For our second response, let's learn the words boost and concentration, and together, boost concentration. Boost is to increase or improve something. For example, tuning out any noise can boost your concentration. So boost is to increase. For example, drinking coffee in the morning helps to boost my energy levels. I drink tea. Some people drink coffee early in the morning to boost their energy levels, to increase their energy levels. So that's the word boost. And concentration means the ability to focus your attention on a particular task. It means focus. Focus and the ability to maintain focus. That's concentration. For example, meditation can improve your concentration over time. You can do meditation and you can boost your concentration by doing that. So we've learned boost and concentration. Now let's try to respond to this question. The question is, how do you stay focused at work? I find that it's necessary to have boundaries. You need to set boundaries. For example, if you work from home, you need to work in a room with a lock. So you need to be able to close the door, lock the door, to have a boundary, to not be interrupted, so you can stay focused on what you need to do. I find that this really helps me by boosting my concentration. I can stay focused on what I'm doing. I also check my email and social media at very specific times of the day. I do not allow myself to check my emails every few minutes. That way, you may lose focus. So in order to boost concentration, tune out of anything that could be a distraction. So there, as you see, I try to use boost and concentration. Now we have a text here that we can read using those words. So let's read this. I stay focused by minimizing distractions. I put my phone on airplane mode and close unnecessary tabs on my computer. For example, I use apps like Focus at Will, which plays background music designed to boost concentration, helping me to keep my mind on the task at hand. This is interesting. It talks about background music. You can listen to some specific types of music, and they can help you by boosting your concentration. It probably doesn't work the same way for everyone, but for some people it works. So you can boost your concentration by listening to music, maybe. Now I'm going to read this response part by part. I stay focused by minimizing distractions. We got some things we can practice here. For example, stay focused. Remember that we can use the word stay focused. Stay and focused together. Also, the pronunciation of the word focused. As you see, the ed in this word is pronounced as te, focused. The reason for that is that before ed we have an s, and the s here is pronounced like se. So when we have se and ed, it's pronounced as st, like focused. All right. I'm trying to see if I remember any other examples. There are a couple of other letters that work the same way. For example, booked, the K, the letter K is the same thing, booked, or SH, like washed, or CH, I suppose, yeah, watched. It's S, K, P, F, SH, and CH, and X, I think. And also sometimes C if it is pronounced similar to an S. Anyways, that's the pronunciation of the word focused. I stay focused by minimizing distractions. By minimizing. There is by and also ing at the end of minimizing. By minimizing. By minimizing distractions. I put my phone on airplane mode. Well, I would say that's a little bit, too much for me. I wouldn't put my phone on airplane mode. Someone might need to reach out to me, a family member, something very important, because we talk about staying focused and tuning out of anything that is unnecessary. But remember that you still, might be needed somewhere, something urgent. So I don't do this, but here's what the text suggests. I put my phone on airplane mode and close unnecessary tabs on my computer. This is helpful, yes. Unnecessary tabs. Imagine you've opened a browser like Chrome or Firefox, and you have lots of tabs open. Any of those tabs could be potentially a distraction. So it's better to close those unnecessary tabs. For example, I use apps like Focus at Will, which plays background music designed to boost concentration. We talked about the words boost. Boost is to increase, and concentration, which is focus. Helping me to keep my mind on the task at hand. Here we have an interesting word, at hand. It helps me by because I focus on the task at hand. At hand means what I need to do right now, the immediate thing. Let's look at the meaning. At hand is close in time or space, currently needing attention, immediate. So I think the best one here is currently needing attention. The thing that right now needs your attention is the task at hand. For example, imagine you're in a meeting, you discuss something, and another colleague says something else. They bring up another issue, and you say, let's focus on the topic at hand. It means let's focus on what needs attention right now. Let's avoid distractions. Let's focus on what needs attention right now. Let's focus on the task at hand. So that's the word at hand. I'll read you an example here. I always try to complete the task at hand before starting a new one. It really helps. We're really not good at multitasking as a species, so it's best to avoid any double work being done at the same time. So try to focus on the task at hand and finish it before starting a new one. Okay, that was our second response. Let's continue with our next response. I think we can learn two words here. One is dedicate. Yes, this is a good word. Dedicate is to give your time, to devote your time to something, to a particular task or activity. For example, I dedicate an hour every day to exercise. It means I set aside this time for exercise. So that's the word dedicate. And another one is set aside. It's very similar to the word dedicate. When you set aside some time for a particular task, it means you say, okay, this time of my day is for this task. I put it away, I put it aside for this reason. It means to allocate or to reserve something for a specific purpose or future use. That's the meaning of the word set aside. For example, I always set aside some money for emergencies. Yeah, you can always set aside some money for emergencies. Now let's use those two words, set aside and devote. No, it wasn't devote, it was dedicate. Yeah, let's use the words dedicate and set aside to answer the question, how do you stay productive at work? what was the question exactly? How do you stay focused? Yes. How do you stay focused and productive at work? We want to answer that question using these two words. So what I do is I always set aside some time every morning to decide what I need to focus on during the day. I set aside this time only for planning of the day, to plan my tasks, to prioritize my tasks also, to know what's urgent, what's important, what needs attention, and what can be postponed. Maybe some tasks can be delegated. You can ask someone else to do it for you. You might know that now I'm referring to the Eisenhower matrix. This matrix says you can prioritize your tasks based on urgency and importance. There are some tasks that are both important and urgent, and you need to take care of them immediately. Some other tasks might be important, but not really urgent. Let's say something that is related to your children. Anything related to your children might be very important, but maybe they're not urgent. You can take care of them tomorrow. So for those things that are important but not urgent, you can plan to do them later. So put them on your schedule. There might be things that are urgent but not important. Imagine some minor issue that anyone can take care of, but it's just that it needs to be done right now. We cannot postpone it. We need to do it now, but it's not really that difficult or that important. For such tasks, it's best to delegate them. Get someone to do them for you. That's the word delegate. To get someone to do something instead of you and also to give them the rights to do it. It's to delegate. So for tasks that are urgent but not important, that's what you do. And there might be some other tasks that are neither urgent nor important. They are neither urgent nor important. So for these things, you might want to reevaluate if you ever want to do them. And if so, maybe sometime in the future, or maybe just get rid of them. Don't do them. Anyways, I got a little bit carried away. I talked about the Eisenhower matrix just now. And now we can get back to our exercise of using the words dedicate and set aside. So every day I set aside some time to plan my day. And I always make sure to dedicate a specific amount of my time for reading and answering emails or any other important messages. I try to avoid looking at my phone or reading those emails every so often. So I try to use the word dedicate and set aside in this exercise. Now let's go and read the response that we have here. All right. One technique I use to stay focused is time blocking. I dedicate specific blocks of time to particular tasks and don't switch to another task until the time is up. For example, I'll set aside an hour in the morning solely for responding to emails, which helps me stay organized and focused. So what this says here is that this person uses time blocking. It means you set aside specific times for specific activities, which is very interesting. It reminds me of Pomodoro technique. I think that's what it's called. You set aside 25-minute blocks of time for specific activities, separated by 5-minute breaks. So that's what you can do. Set aside some time for different activities. It's called time blocking. So let's read the text again, part by part, and learn the vocabulary. One technique I use to stay focused is time blocking. I dedicate specific blocks of time to particular tasks. Dedicate, as we said before, means to devote your time, effort, or resources to a particular task. For example, I dedicate an hour every day to exercise. I dedicate specific blocks of time to particular tasks. So what is the word particular? Particular means specific, any specific task, any particular task. For example, I'm looking for a particular book that I read years ago. So here it's talking about one specific book. It's not any book. You could kind of say that it's the opposite to any, because any means I don't care, like anything would be fine. It means I don't care which one you choose. But particular is the opposite thing. It means one specific book. So particular tasks. I dedicate specific blocks of time to particular tasks, and don't switch to another task until the time is up. The time is up means that you have no more time. Time's up. The allotted time has ended, or the period for something is over. For example, when the timer rings, I know the time's up for the task. Also, the word task, you might already know it. A task is a piece of work that needs to be done. In your work every day, you need to do different type of tasks, different activities that you need to complete. A task is a piece of work to be done. For example, my main task for today is to finish the report. That's a task I need to accomplish, to finish the report. Right? We also talked about the word set aside, which means to reserve something for a specific purpose. In our last sentence, it says, for example, I set aside an hour in the morning solely, this is an interesting word, solely for responding to emails, which helps me stay focused and organized. So what is solely? Solely means only. Sol means alone, like solo player. So solely, only, not involving anyone or anything else, exclusively. For example, I'm solely responsible for managing this project. It means I'm the only person who's responsible for this. You could say, sorry about the what happened yesterday. I take full responsibility. I'm solely responsible for that. It means it's only me who's responsible for it, no one else. Okay, so that was our third response. After a quick break, we're going to continue with our fourth response. So we're back. Thank you for continuing to watch this video. Our next response is about the Pomodoro technique. In our break, I researched a little bit about the origins of this technique. It's quite remarkable. It seems like someone called, I hope I get it right, Francesco Cirillo. This person, who's apparently Italian, he used this technique in the early 1990s, so it's like 20-30 years ago. And the way he would do this is he had maybe a watch or some kind of an alarm that looked like a tomato, hence the word Pomodoro. Pomodoro apparently means tomato in Italian. So because it looked like a tomato, the name remained with it, Pomodoro technique. So the way it works is you dedicate 25-minute time blocks to specific tasks. So you say, this 25-minute, this is what I want to do. And then you have a 5-minute break. And then you continue to another 25-minute task. And I suppose after a few sequences, then you have a break, a larger break, a longer break. So that's the Pomodoro technique that I searched a little bit about during the break that I had. Now we can continue and read this, but maybe before doing this, let's learn the vocabulary a little bit and try to familiarize ourselves with it. One thing we can learn is the word counterproductive. I like this word not just because of the word itself, but because it's made of two parts, counter and productive. And if we learn this, we can make other words ourselves also. So the word is counterproductive. You probably can guess. Counter is opposite and productive is productive. So counterproductive is something that is not productive, something that wastes your time, having the opposite effect of what is intended or desired, harmful. So yes, something that takes you away from your goal. It pushes you further away from your goal. It doesn't help you at all. That's counterproductive. For example, skipping breaks can be counterproductive because it leads to burnout. This is very interesting. So consider this. As I said before, you have 25 minutes of work, 5 minutes of break, and then 25 minutes of work. You can say, okay, let's skip that 5-minute break. Let's just ignore that and not have a break and just have 25 minutes plus 25 minutes plus 5 minutes. So you'll have more time. You might think at first glance that this is productive, but in fact, it is counterproductive. Why? Because now that you didn't have that 5-minute break, the whole duration of 55 minutes that you have is you're going to be less productive because you're not refreshed, you don't have a lot of energy, you cannot work well. So counterproductive is something that actually wastes your time, is harmful for you, is not good for you. It takes away your time. So that's the word counterproductive. As an example, skipping breaks is counterproductive. It's a good idea to have breaks, even though they look like something that take away your time. In fact, they help you. So that's the word counterproductive. And another word that we can learn is nonstop. Nonstop means without any pauses or interruptions, continuous. That's nonstop. It's often not a good idea to work nonstop. All right, so let's use those two words, counterproductive and nonstop, to answer our question. Remember, the question is, how do you stay focused at work? How do you stay productive at work? Stay focused and productive. How do you stay focused and productive at work? That's the question. And in order to activate the vocabulary that you've learned, it's a good idea to pause the video at this point and use those two words. Okay, so I'm going to give you my own response. In order to stay productive, it's a good idea to have some breaks embedded in your schedule. Always take some breaks, make sure that you get refreshed and you're ready to work at full energy. It's quite counterproductive if you just work nonstop. Oh, I managed to use the two of them in one sentence. It's counterproductive to work nonstop. Amazing. Now let's try to, you should definitely try it. It's a very rewarding experience. It's a satisfying thing when you try to use words and you manage to use them properly in a sentence. I mean, I've been learning English for years, and you would guess that I shouldn't feel so happy about making a simple sentence. But I do. I do feel happy when I manage to make that sentence. And that's a feeling that I want you to also feel. It really motivates you. You try, you say, okay, let me see if I can make this sentence. Let me see if I can use this word. And you do it, and you're successful, and it feels really good. It gives you energy so you can keep working, keep learning, and keep improving your English. So definitely try to do this. Okay, now let me read the text, and we're going to discuss it later. I stay focused by taking regular breaks. Working nonstop can be counterproductive. So I use the Pomodoro technique, which involves working for 25 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break. For example, during breaks, I'll stretch or grab a quick snack. I'll stretch or grab a quick snack, which refreshes my mind and helps maintain focus and helps maintain my focus. You can see that this video, I suppose by this point, is taking longer than 25 minutes, I think. And I'm starting to make mistakes, so I really need to do this myself. Maybe I need to make my videos shorter, 25 minutes max, to make sure that I have good breaks. Anyways, I'm going to read it part by part. I stay focused by taking regular breaks. Working nonstop can be counterproductive. So counterproductive, we talked about this. We said, for example, skipping breaks is counterproductive. So I use the Pomodoro technique, which involves working for 25 minutes. Involves. The word involve is to include or require as a necessary part, or entail. So if something includes something, if it has something, if it requires it, it involves it. For example, the job will involve traveling to different cities. It's an example of a job that you've been offered that says, this job involves traveling to different cities. Okay, let's continue. For example, during breaks, I'll stretch. Stretch is when you stretch your muscles. So the meaning here is to extend your body or limbs to full length, to extend your body or limbs. Limbs are parts of your body. Or extend. That's the meaning of stretch. For example, I like to stretch my legs after sitting for a long time. Yeah, I like to stretch my legs. That means I want to take a walk or stretch my legs. And grab. I like to grab a quick snack. That's what it says, right? Grab a quick snack. Grab is to take something, to quickly take or seize something, or snatch, like you get it. For example, I usually grab a coffee before starting my work. Basically here it means to buy or to get or to eat, to drink in some cases. Grab coffee. You might see this scene in a lot of movies where if someone wants to ask someone out, like on a date, they can say, maybe we can grab some coffee together sometime. Maybe we can grab a cup of coffee sometime. So it means we can drink coffee later. So grab is to take or to have. Have here, I mean like to drink or eat. And so it says, I'll stretch or grab a quick snack, which refreshes my mind and helps maintain my focus. Maintain focus. Remember this vocabulary, maintain. For example, it's important to maintain focus during long meetings. To maintain focus is to keep your focus at a specific point level. To preserve your focus, to keep being focused. Okay, so that was our fourth response. This time I'm going to take a real, I hope, a real break and not just researching stuff. And then we can continue to our fifth response for this question. All right, I feel refreshed after a quick break and some water. And I think I'm ready for our next response, where we're going to learn the word overwhelmed. It's an interesting adjective, overwhelmed. It's a little bit difficult for me to pronounce because there's the V and W, so it's like together. But let's try to say it again. Overwhelmed, overwhelmed. The word overwhelmed means you feel like you're overburdened. There is a lot of pressure on you, and you feel like there's nothing you can do. It's like, a lot of pressure and stress, a point where like you're like, okay, I don't know what to do. Because consider this, sometimes there's stress, there's work that you need to do, but you're like, okay, I can take care of it. But sometimes they keep giving you tasks to do, and you say, come on, I can't take care of this anymore. This is it. So that's the point that you're overwhelmed. It means feeling unable to cope with a situation due to its size and complexity. So when there is so much work to do that you feel like you cannot take care of it, you'll fail. That's the moment that you feel overwhelmed. For example, she felt overwhelmed by the number of tasks on her to-do list. Yes. Imagine you have 5, 10, 20 tasks. You say, okay, I'll take care of it. But then what if you return from holidays and you have 100 emails that you've received and you need to respond to? That might feel a little bit overwhelming. By the way, there is overwhelmed and overwhelming. Lots of other adjectives like this with ed and ing. One talks about the person, how the person feels, and one talks about the situation. Consider this example. The movie was exciting and I got excited. Excited, exciting. If the movie is exciting, which is the situation, you, the person, feel excited. Or the movie, if it is boring, then you feel bored. A boring movie makes you bored. An exciting movie makes you excited. If something is fascinating, then how do you feel? You feel fascinated. If something is amazing, how do you feel? You feel amazed. Is there another example I can think of? Amazed, fascinated, excited, bored. That's it probably. There are lots of other examples, but I don't think I'm going to remember anything else. Here we have the words overwhelmed and overwhelming. So if something is overwhelming, like a situation is overwhelming, receiving 100 emails is overwhelming. Then how do you feel when that happens to you? You feel overwhelmed. So that's the first word we wanted to learn here. Another one is manageable. Manageable means something that you can control, something that you can take care of. For example, it's manageable to answer 10 emails. For me, it feels manageable to answer 10 emails. So manageable is basically the opposite to overwhelming. It's overwhelming to receive 100 emails, but it's manageable to take care of 10. So let's use those two words, manageable and overwhelming, or overwhelmed, doesn't matter. Let's use those to answer the question, how do you stay focused and productive at work? What you need to do, okay, this is my response, by the way. You might want to pause the video and answer it yourself, but my response would be, what you need to do is to break down the tasks that you have been given to manageable pieces. Any task can be accomplished once you manage to break it down to manageable pieces. Anything that feels overwhelming, like let's say the example that I made with 100 emails, 100 emails is 10 packages of 10 emails each. So what you can do is say, okay, today I'm going to take care of the first 10. Maybe even today in the afternoon, I can allocate another time for another 10 of those emails. Tomorrow, another 10. So I'm breaking down this task to manageable pieces. Each piece is manageable. So that's how you can stay focused and productive. And you can make sure that you don't feel overwhelmed, because you cannot stay focused and you cannot be productive if you feel overwhelmed when you've been given too much to do. Let's read the text now. To maintain focus, I break my tasks into smaller, more manageable pieces. This way, I'm not overwhelmed by the size of a project, and I can give my full attention to each part. For instance, instead of writing a full report in one go, I focus on writing one section at a time. So here are two other words that we can learn: in one go and at a time. And I think they're basically opposites. We're learning lots of opposites here. It's interesting. Okay, let's read the last sentence first because it's an interesting sentence. For instance, instead of writing a full report in one go, I focus on writing one section at a time. At a time is in each time. Like you'd break down something into different pieces, and then at a time, in each time, you answer one of them. You take care of one of them. At a time is one by one, in sequence, individually. For example, I handle my tasks one at a time to ensure each gets my full attention. And the opposite is in one go. In one go is like, you just try one time and try to take care of everything. In a single attempt or effort. All at once. All at once. That's the meaning of at a go. In one go, sorry. In one go. At a time, in one go. Okay. In one go. I prefer to finish the cleaning in one go rather than spreading it over days. By the way, this is something to consider, because when I say you need to break down your tasks into manageable pieces, you need to take that with a grain of salt. You need to be careful in how you interpret that, because there are some simple tasks that are better done in one go. For example, if there's something that you can take care of in an hour, just stay focused, do it, finish it, and just relieve yourself from the pressure that it might put on you. Sometimes it's best to do things in one go if you can take care of them. In other times, you might want to break them down and try them piece by piece and part by part, or one part at a time. One part at a time. We can also read the first part of this text now. To maintain focus, I break my tasks into smaller, more manageable pieces. Manageable is easy to control or deal with, or controllable. For example, breaking the project into smaller tasks made it more manageable. Breaking the project into smaller tasks made it more manageable. This way, I'm not overwhelmed by the size of a project. We talked about the word overwhelmed. And as an example, we can just read an example for it. She felt overwhelmed by the number of the tasks on her to-do list. Okay, by the size of the project, and I can give it my full attention. All right, that's good. That was our fifth response. And I think we can now have a quick break and then continue with our sixth response after this. All right, let's continue with our sixth response. This response is about distractions. We've talked in part about this before. Let's learn some expressions here. One of the expressions we want to learn is let someone know something. Let someone know something. For example, it's best to let your colleagues know that you're busy so they don't interrupt your workflow, so they don't distract you. So you can let them know that you're working. Another word is immerse. Immerse is to be fully involved or engaged in something. When you're immersed in an activity, it means you're completely focused. You're not paying attention to anything else. You're completely engrossed into it. So that's the word immerse. Immerse is fully involved or engaged in something. And the other one is let someone know something. What we want to do is pause the video at this point and use these two words and expressions to talk about how you can stay focused at work. And my response would be, it's very important to make sure that that you let your colleagues know that you're immersed in an activity. For example, by changing your status on Teams. If you use the Teams application, you can change your status and it can show that you are active. So this way you can let your colleagues know that you're immersed in an activity and do not wish to be distracted, to be disturbed. You do not wish to be disturbed. Okay, I'm going to read the response here now. A distraction-free environment. No, sorry, that was the vocabulary. Okay, I'm going to read the text now. I stay focused by creating a distraction-free environment. I work in a quiet space and let colleagues know when I need to concentrate. For example, I'll use noise-canceling headphones to block out background noise, which allows me to immerse myself fully in my work. Now I'm going to read it part by part. I stay focused by creating a distraction-free environment. What is a distraction-free environment? It's a space without interruptions or disturbances. It's a quiet space. Very interesting meaning. Quiet space, a distraction-free environment. Basically, a distraction-free environment is a sophisticated way to say quiet space. It's not exactly the same thing, but it's very close. Okay, let's read an example. I'm most productive when working in a distraction-free environment, obviously. Okay, I stay focused by creating a distraction-free environment. I work in a quiet space and let colleagues know. We talked about this before. Let someone know is to inform them. When I need to concentrate, for example, I'll use noise-canceling headphones to block out background noise. What is block out? Block out is to prevent something from entering or affecting you. Or it means shut out. Block out or shut out. For example, I use earplugs to block out noise while studying. Okay, let's continue with which allows me to immerse myself fully in my work. It allows me to immerse myself fully in my work. Immerse yourself fully in your work is to get completely involved in your work without any interruptions. Immerse is to become fully involved or engaged in something. For example, I like to immerse myself in a good book on weekends. I like to immerse myself in a good book on weekends. Okay, that's good. That was our sixth response, and I think that's good enough for this video. I'm going to make part 2 of this video also with some other text and some other ways to stay focused at work and to stay productive. I hope it's been helpful. I hope you've learned most of the words that we learned today. And even if you didn't, it's okay. These words are going to be repeated multiple times. Just a familiarity, just getting a little bit familiar with the words. Just a starting point is good enough. But be sure that the best way to learn using these videos is to pause them whenever necessary and try to take an active role in listening to these videos, in watching these videos, an active role, which means you answer the questions, and also sometimes if you see there is a word that you're learning which is new for you, you might even want to make extra examples using those words. Okay, that's it. I hope it's been helpful, and till later.